on, everyone? Gilman with Live Wealthy, back with our daily Apple update video where we take a look at how Apple stock traded today, how the overall market traded today in comparison to Apple, and what we think the future of Apple could look like. So real quick, if you enjoyed these videos, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and comment down below what you think the future of Apple could look like. Now, wasting no time, getting right into it, if we take a look at the one-day chart, right, we see that Apple didn't really have a great day. It did a whole lot of nothing, personally, right? It was a pretty boring day, I would say. So it gapped up just a little bit. We closed, in the low 115s yesterday. It gapped up to 116.40. Pretty much went down to fill the gap. Try to push back up above VWAP, but wasn't able to. Went down, came up again, got rejected by VWAP, and then went down. Again, if I were to draw kind of a line from here, the trend is not that great, right, today. Just down a little bit. Now, one thing that I kind of want to compare it to is taking a look at the Dow, right? The Dow was up 137 points, which is 0.5%. NASDAQ was up 0.5%. And S&P was up about 0.9%. So S&P was up pretty nicely, about 90 basis points. And in comparison to all that, Apple was still kind of red today. Now, granted, it was only down 11 cents, and after hours right now at 4:09 Central Time, it's up 14 cents, so it's kind of even on the day. But I mean, taking a look at Google, right? Google had a great day, up $25, 1.76%. Microsoft was up 0.36%. The Qs are up 0.5%. Taking a look at, kind of other stocks that I like comparing it to, Amazon was also down. And then Tesla, let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla was up just a little bit. But overall, Apple, I would say, compared to the S&P and the Dow and even the NASDAQ was pretty weak, which is not something that we really like to see, right, with Apple. We want it to be a little bit stronger. It was below the VWAP line for most of the day, which is definitely not a good thing for Apple. So let's take a look at our indicators and then kind of what Apple has been doing. So let's zoom in here. What we see here is, our 50-day moving average right now is 115.46, which is kind of where we have been hovering, up and down in those levels. And then if we take a look at the EMA, what we see is, we're above all the EMAs, so they're all kind of right in this area, 3 of them at 114.44 for the 8 EMA, and 21 EMA being 114, and then 34 EMA being 113.72. So all that to say, where is Apple stock heading next? One thing that I kind of want to show is, in the course of this week, right, we've pretty much been, there's no real trend, right? So a little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit up, kind of sideways today. So Apple has really not been going one way, right? It's going up, it's going down, trying to decide what it wants to do. Taking a look at it from like a resistance and support perspective, right? As I mentioned, we have had good support, at the 113s. We did dip below it a couple times into the 112s with the Trump tweet that happened a couple days ago, as well as the Trump coronavirus. The fact that he was positive that happened last Friday. So both of those caused it to break below that. But as we could see, on Friday it closed right below that. But on Tuesday, I believe it was, with the tweet, we closed above the 113, right? So we closed at 113.16. So I personally think that, in the downside, first of all, we have those EMAs that I talked about in the 114s and the low 114s, mid 113s, that could act as support. But if not, we've got the 113, hopefully that holds that support. If the 113 support breaks, we could drop all the way to 110. But I don't see that negative sentiment right now. And then in the upside, we've got a lot of resistance kind of up here in the 116s, 117s. There's a lot of sort of previous day highs that we haven't filled in the high 116s, high 117s, and then we've got a lot of resistance in the 118s and 119s. So right now Apple is going sideways. I could actually just draw a horizontal line right there, and between the 113 and 116.40 kind of takes care of the last 5 days, other than these wicks from these candles. And that's just the way Apple is going. Now, over the long term, right, it is still going kind of upward. if we were to compare it from 9/24 to now. The candle is overall still up, but you know, and I just want to kind of make you guys aware that here's kind of the sort of place where we're trading in the past 4 or 5 days. Again, next week being Apple's announcement event and Amazon Prime Day, I'm hoping that that brings a lot of excitement into the stock. I personally think that, you know, we could see it push towards the highs sometime next week. Highs being like not the 135s we said, but highs being the resistance points in the 118s. Tomorrow, I'm not really, you know, again, I don't know what it'll do because it hasn't really given an indication on what it wants to do. I think a lot of this week's trading has been more based on like the stimulus updates, with Trump saying we're not negotiating and then saying we are giving an airline deal, and then Pelosi saying, you know, we should talk about the other part of it. So a lot of that has sort of driven the market more so than, you know, Apple specific news. But I think moving into next week, there's a lot of excitement with Amazon's Prime Day and Apple's iPhone 12 event. So that should hopefully bring some excitement into the stock, more investors excited, assuming Apple, you know, actually has the iPhone, right? They don't say that out loud, but we're expecting them to. And hopefully, you know, next week we could potentially move up and test those levels and maybe even break through them, who knows. But for the time being, you know, Apple's moving kind of sideways. As I mentioned, we do have some good support in the 113s, and even before that with the EMAs that I went over. And then in the upward, we're seeing some resistance in the 116s, and then we've got this 117.72 high to knock out, and then there is resistance in the 118s and 119s. So those are just some key things to be aware of if you are trading Apple. Not much, you know, in terms of updates. As you could see, you know, it was pretty boring, pretty sideways today. Not much going on with Apple. So I'll try to make a update video either tomorrow or over the weekend on this overall week and then the outlook for next week. So be on the lookout for that. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a comment, like the video, subscribe to our channel. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day. And until next time.